Afternoon and welcome to the Spokane City Council. We have an Urban Experience Committee meeting today, and I would like to introduce Chair, Councilmember Karen Stratton.
Thank you, and happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to the Urban Experience Committee meeting for this Monday. First off, if you've had a chance to look at the minutes, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And those are the minutes from the August 16th meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, minutes pass. I would like to see if Mark Richard is, I don't see everybody here. Is Mark Richard on at this point? Okay.
Mark is currently in another meeting. I can run and grab him if needed.
No, I was going to pull him up a little bit to the top of the agenda, but we'll wait till he gets here and then we'll put him on, okay?
Wonderful, thank you.
Perfect. All right, so looking at our agenda, does anybody have any changes? And does anybody have anything on the consent agenda that they want to talk about or inquire about or have questions? Okay, let's start at staff request.
Excuse me, I think item H, there were some folks that wanted to talk on the consent agenda for the Cannon Street 24-hour. And you can take that whenever you'd like.
Okay. If somebody wants to see if Kirsten Davis can join us, if she's not here, that would be great. There's someone from her office that could get a hold of her. We'll get back to that one. Let's start with Mr. Ormsby. He's going to talk about pre-approval of a purchase vehicles for the city and possibly maybe, I don't know, buying me a car or something to celebrate the fall.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Stratton and members of the council. Actually, I'm going to just kick this off. I think it was maybe 3 weeks or a month ago, Rick Giddings, who's our new fleet director, was at a meeting to describe the issues and problems that we were having with acquiring vehicles and the short time frame that we had to be able to make a commitment, like an hour or two. And the city's current purchasing process for automobiles takes between a month and 6 weeks. So we have worked with Sally, Stouffer, Rick, and others in fleet over the last few weeks to try to come up with a process where we can identify vehicles in advance and take them to the council in advance with a range of options to either acquire them or lease them. And so today we have 17 such vehicles identified and a resolution that we would like the council to look at and approve next week that kind of provides the parameters for Rick and his crew to be able to go out and acquire vehicles. Rick is here and he has a PowerPoint of the background of how we got into the situation if the council's interested in that. I think many of you understand it already, but we're here to put this before the council for discussion and consideration and hopefully approval at your meeting next week.
I would like to see the presentation. I don't know if anybody else agrees, but I would like to see it.
Okay, well, let me get it up on the screen here.
Well, Rick and Michaela and Sally and a number of other people worked hard to put it together, so I think Rick will be glad to show it to you.
It's my very first one, so I would sure hate to not be able to show it. Okay, you seeing? I'm not seeing it. Everybody seeing it?
Yes. Yes.
You see it?
Okay, so notably, the Spokane Police Tesla got painted and decals, so that's why that's on the front page there. So the commissioning parts are forthcoming. So a little off topic, but I just wanted to bring that up there. So as Mr. Ormsby mentioned, microchip shortages, COVID-related supply chain disruptions are having a pretty negative impact on our ability to purchase fleet vehicles. Current process takes about 4 weeks from obtaining quotes through to city council approval. And in that time frame, in many cases, the vehicles we are trying to purchase have already been sold. And so our objective, of course, with fleet and purchasing is the passage of this resolution that will give us kind of temporary pre-approval from City Council to purchase designated vehicles on an as-needed basis as they become available. So I think it's important to kind of state our vehicle purchasing priorities, and I think that they align pretty well with the City of Spokane's goals. So, of course, the number one goal is to purchase or lease vehicles that fully meet the need of the using department. We want to provide usable tools for the people who have to use them to do their job. Second, purchase vehicles fueled by electricity or biofuels, which will help us reach our clean energy goals. EV or CNG vehicles where charging or fueling infrastructure is available and accessible with minimal disruption to the using department. Diesel vehicles in anticipation that renewable diesel will be available in the near future, and our sources tell us that that is something that is up and coming. And then, of course, all vehicle purchases will be subject to total cost of ownership analysis. And then in situations where clean fuel vehicles are not available, not practical, or not economically viable, we would lease vehicles. We've been doing a fair amount of that lately. We choose open-ended leases so we can purchase clean fuel vehicles as availability increases, new vehicles come on the market, and costs decrease. Vehicles leased due to the availability of fueling infrastructure is kind of by design should inform our decisions about where and when charging and fueling infrastructure projects are needed. And then lease vehicles are also subject to total cost of ownership and energy efficiency considerations. So this is just an example of some needs that we have right now. 2021 budgeted vehicles, compact SUV, a pretty common vehicle that we will be purchasing. So our first option, our first choice would be to purchase Hyundai Kona EV. Total cost of ownership is great, meets our clean energy requirement department needs, but as most of us have talked about in the past, they're currently unavailable. We don't know when the order banks are going to open. And of course, they require access to charging equipment, which we're working towards, but we're not there yet for many of our departments. So our option two, in this case, would be to lease Ford Escape hybrids. They win when it comes to the cost per mile, total cost of ownership, fuel economy is pretty good. And so that would be the plan B for the near future. And then, of course, if that vehicle is not available, which sometimes we need a plan B and a plan C and a plan D, but the RAV4 hybrid or a Nissan Rogue hybrid would also be another all-wheel drive option for that. And then half-ton pickups, another one that we use an awful lot of. We've got water department code enforcement that need various different versions, regular cab, extended cab. So the Ford F-150 Lightning is it's supposedly on the market. Can't order it quite yet. Silverado has come up with an electric version that's not released yet. So in the next few years, I see a few of these vehicles being a part of our fleet. Not ready yet, so option one is kind of off the table for right now. Option two, of course, would be to lease a internal combustion engine F-150 or Silverado or some similar vehicle. F-250s, 3/4 ton pickups is another common. We need Waste Energy needs a couple of those. So our first priority, there is no electric vehicle available on the market yet in that size of vehicle. So our option one, it would be to purchase F-250 diesel. The diesel costs about $11,000 more, but better fuel economy, and so the total cost of ownership is significantly less. And so and then as renewable diesel comes on the market, that vehicle should meet our clean energy requirements. And then if that's not available, of course, we can lease the F-250 gas or the Silverado or something similar to that. So, and then this is just a list of some vehicles that we commonly use. This is more for kind of directing us as to what we think. The bid prices aren't out yet. They fluctuate greatly depending on how the vehicle is outfitted. But this is just more of a target for vehicle purchasing in the future about what we paid in the past and where we think we can buy them. Our goal would be to purchase them depending on how they're outfitted at or around these prices or below. This just gives total cost of ownership, so we just want to have that available. And then, so just to kind of sum things up, Fleet and purchasing, we are committed to providing the city of Spokane useful and cost-effective vehicles that meet our clean energy goals. We are hearing vehicle purchasing will be challenging for the remainder of 2021 for sure, most of 2022, and some people are saying well into 2023. There's going to be a tight supply and some continued disruptions. Many order banks may close. I put may close on there prior to 2022 budget approval, but they already have. For instance, the Silverado opened last week for ordering, and it closed this week or just a day or two ago. They sold out. So that vehicle is through conventional means is not available. So speed and flexibility in the purchasing process will greatly improve our ability to provide vehicles. So we are asking for passage of this resolution for pre-approval to purchase designated vehicles, placing priority on function, availability, total cost of ownership, and environmental concerns. And then, of course, as we purchase vehicles, we will keep the council updated. And then, as we see how the market unfolds and what the challenges are, we'll kind of keep communication open. There'll be new vehicles come on the market, and as we get charging and fueling infrastructure in place, and of course, in the next couple of months when our Green Fleet implementation plan is finalized. So that's that in a nutshell. So any questions?
Rick, that was a great presentation. Thank you. I have just one quick question. So if I understand this right, as you look at the vehicles that are going to be available that you can order, then you're also going to have to balance that with the charging stations to make sure that we have enough of that technology available for whether it's waste energy or wherever these vehicles are going, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So right. So we want to provide, if an electric vehicle is available or a clean energy vehicle is available, and especially if it's economically viable, total cost of ownership comes out, which because of the lower maintenance costs, it seems to be the case, is that these vehicles will meet total cost of ownership as they're coming on the market. But if it's requiring an employee to spend 20, 30, 45 minutes to get it to a charging station, then the cost equation kind of goes out the window because we have extra expenses in order to get that vehicle fueled. And so we really want to use the leases where we have departments that just don't have charging available. We want to use these leases as an arrow to point towards where we need to put this charging infrastructure. And in the future, we're going to have our Green Fleet implementation plan. We will have a better idea of where and when this charging infrastructure needs to go in.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions, Councilmember Kinnear?
Thanks. I think the discussion is also going to have to morph into one that talks about policy around employees taking cars home, because that is going to create issues. When you think about a charging station, does that mean that we're going to have to put charging stations in people's homes? So I think it's going to be a larger conversation than whether we put charging stations in each of our departments, like at Public Safety Building or Water or Nelson, wherever it is. And so as a council, as an agency, we're going to have to talk about what is the policy regarding taking vehicles home versus coming into work on your own, using your own vehicle.
That's a good point. Anybody have a comment or another question? Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I'm just wondering how, in the assortment of vehicles that are listed here, how did those get narrowed down to the vehicles on the list? And then what are the cost controls that are in place? Leases vary, obviously, and prices vary. So I'm just curious, what are those controls to make sure that we're not, spending more than we would like to spend on these various vehicles?
Yeah, well, our goal is, of course, to not spend more than we need to, because the market is in such a state of fluctuation right now. We are trying, part of the reason to be able to have this flexibility is when a vehicle at a good price comes in that meets, our expectation of what the price should be, that we want to be able to jump on it. And so price controls on this would be, we know what to expect. We know what our bid prices would be if we could order those vehicles. And so the vehicles that we would have to purchase through outside sources, through approved contracts, would have to meet closely with that. Now, because we don't know what it's going to look like, right? To be honest, right now the contracts are not available to look at, and they're not. So we don't know what the prices are going to be. But our goal is to use our total cost of ownership calculations and make sure that we are buying vehicles at the least amount of money that we can that will meet the need of the department.
And in terms of identifying these particular makes and models, how did those get chosen?
So there's a lot of factors. Of course, meeting the need of our green fleet. There's only a few vehicles on the market that meet all-wheel drive requirements that are on the market that are available or will be available at some point. So those ones were pretty easy to put on there. And then so the total cost of ownership comes into play. So an all-wheel drive, hybrid meets the need, and so that one. So if it meets the need of the using department, for instance, engineering needs code enforcement needs to have a vehicle that will haul 1 to 2 people, haul a small amount of equipment, but still all-wheel drive so it can get into job sites and things like that. We try to find basically the smallest, most efficient vehicle that will fully meet the need of the department. So Ford Ranger or a F-150 is a good example of a vehicle that Ford Ranger is supposedly the smaller version of the Ford pickup, but fuel economy is the same as the F-150. It's only slightly smaller. So those two we can kind of interchange in a lot of ways if we're having supply issues. F-150s, F-250s. If everything being equal, we lean towards Fords simply because when it comes to maintaining vehicles, having a more streamlined approach to stocking parts and things like that plays into it. So if we can stack the deck in our favor, we will do that. We also are working on becoming a warranty center for Ford, and so that will help us save costs in the future.
Any other questions or comments for Rick? Well, thank you both for your presentation, and I am sure that if any council members or staff have questions, they know who to contact and get those answers. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to back up just a bit. We're going to go to Kirsten Davis is here. So those of you that had questions, concerns about number H on the consent agenda, Buchanan Street Shelter, let me know and we can have that discussion. Councilmember Kinnear.
Thanks. I want to make sure we've spent a lot of money on Cannon Street thus far, and I want to make sure that going forward that this shelter will be used as a 24/7, also low barrier for overnight, so that it will not be transitioning to a day shelter only, but it will be 24/7 going into the future for sleeping as well.
Are you asking me if that's what it is, or?
Well, I know that's the intent, but I want some kind of reassurance that into the future it will continue to be 24/7 and have bed availability as well.
Yeah, we really haven't discussed anything past this specific contract at this point. So I think, I haven't heard that it wouldn't be that. So but I wouldn't be able to say what that discussion has been because I haven't been involved in those discussions. So past this contract, I don't know what that looks like. Obviously, as services are provided and we go through the next iteration of things, as we've seen through the last 18 months for sure, a lot of adjustments have been being made for a lot of reasons with different services. So I don't think that that is any intention as to make it any other way than what is being proposed for this next contract, for future contracts, but I can't, say that there's no way that would happen because I haven't been involved in conversations regarding contracts after this one.
Okay, thanks. There's just a great deal of money being spent on this, and my concern is that minds change, and I know that we lost beds when the Way Out shelter was transitioned into a bridge housing, so I want to make sure that that doesn't happen with this shelter. Thanks.
Just a thought, Kirsten, it might help if you know of anybody involved in those discussions on this current contract. Maybe you could just email Councilmember Kinnear who that person is, and maybe she can connect with them and get some answers. It's just a thought.
Happy to do that.
Okay, Councilmember Wilkerson.
Thank you, Councilmember Stratton. That's exactly where I was going to go as we are doing this year, but as we plan for our shelter space, that we know we like to be more prepared than not and not caught off guard with some last minute changes. And I do affirm that our low barrier beds are needed. And if we are not making some long range plans to secure them or to make sure we have enough in our system, then I would be challenged in supporting this contract as it stands right now. So, Christian, whoever's doing those conversations, I know Councilmember Kinnear and myself would really like to hear what their thinking is going forward and not just from year to year as how that's funded.
Any other comments, questions? Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, so it says in the briefing paper that we got a grant from Commerce. Is this all just pass through from Commerce, or is some of this the dollars for the contract movable?
I think Sally is on the line and she can confirm probably for me, but I believe it is Commerce dollars. Well, it's all ESG COVID funds.
Yeah, good afternoon, Council. This specific contract is funded with ESG-CV dollars, which is supporting us for this contract. It also helps us, we are still in a pandemic state and still have safe and healthy concerns related to our homeless shelters. And so this funding through, just for this contract, is using those dollars that are available for that. Understanding that we may be in a different environment by the end of June. 22, so maybe be able to take a different look at that time, but for right now, that's the funding that we're using to support this shelter operation.
Councilmember Kinnear.
So, Sally, while we have you, I just want to be clear that, yes, this contract is using those funds. However, we have put our own money into getting this shelter up and running. So it's not just the use of pass-through dollars that to get this shelter actually going.
Right. I didn't mean to suggest that. Just this contract from October 1st through June 30th is using ESG-CV dollars to support the shelter operation. And we have definitely used general fund dollars previously for this location.
Any other comments? Kirsten, thank you so much for joining us at the last minute. Sorry we had to grab you.
Oh, that's okay. I was trying to get on. I just I was having trouble finding the link in my email, so I apologize for being tardy.
No worries. We know you have a lot on your plate right now, and we appreciate you hanging in there and the information. So thank you, and thank you, Sally Stover. It was nice to see your face. Okay, moving on, we are going to go to our friends at the Downtown Spokane Partnership. Mark, Richard, and some of his staff are here with a quarterly update. Mark, we have you down for 10 minutes. Can you do it in 10?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yes, I can.
I'm going to turn it over to you then.
Excellent. Thank you very much, council members. Thanks for allowing us to be here and provide a quick report on our Q3 activities. Elizabeth, I believe if she has, there she goes. She's going to run the slide for me as usual to keep me on track. So first off, just next slide, if you don't mind, Liz. So just to cover a couple of things in the operations realm, just wanted to update you. We have, I'll just start with this slide because that's the picture image, but we do continue to hire both for our clean team, and we have one position left on our ambassador crew. So we are finding some good applications now that we have modified our pay scale for those folks, and that is helping tremendously. Also notice a little bit further down on your agenda, you have a discussion about a proclamation in honor of our Afghani refugees. We have been contacted by a nonprofit that has asked if we would entertain sitting down with them and discussing possible employment opportunities with some of those refugees. So I think that conversation is taking place with my Clean and Safe Director this afternoon. So we're kind of excited to see what that might bring for us. While we're on this slide, also just reiterate, I think last time I reported to you, we were in process, but now report that all of our ambassadors, as we have talked about early this year, have completed what's called the Keys to Success. It's basically a customer service training with the community college. And we've debriefed on that, and we're now looking for other opportunities for customer service. As, again, we've heard from the council, you'd like us to continue on those efforts. And then lastly, under operations, just that we continue to work with Councilwoman Kinnear and Stratton and Council President to finalize the terms of our contract, as our contract expires at the end of the year. And so we're optimistic we're getting close on that. We're thankful to all three of you for sure. Next slide, please. So it's kind of an interesting slide, the way this came together, but first and foremost, wanted to just, again, we were in progress last time. Now we have just completed our full training. This is both for the BID and the DSP boards, as well as my entire team have just completed a wonderful DEI training program that was essentially, I would say, customized for our employees as compared to the training that Dr. Clark provided for the boards, and that went exceptionally well. We are waiting now. Dr. Clark has launched a survey of the participants in that. So if you're on the board, you hopefully would have received that. And then her team will compile that information, then provide that back to us along with a draft plan, kind of a draft strategic plan about next steps. So we've heard plenty of time from Councilwoman Wilkerson, and we have no intention of this, but we don't want this to be a one and done. This is not a check the box. This is obviously a process and a journey, and that's our intention. So we're anxious to hear back from her, and then also we continue to meet weekly with our economic development counterparts. This is still under that operational guide, just to let you know what we're doing in terms of our contract. And so we're working with our friends at GSI, Spokane Valley, Visit Spokane, and soon to be again, West Plains Chamber, just to make sure that we are collaborating and partnering as much as we can on economic development efforts. And then lastly, we are partnering with Juliet Sinistera, the interim head of the U District, to see through a project that she helped us create while she was here, and that is the Riverside Cultural Trail. And then also, so our hope is that we will be submitting a application for ARP funding to council for both the completion of that cultural trail as well as our wayfinding signage program. So I just want to give you a little heads up on that, so there are no surprises. Next slide, please. So a quick synopsis on the financials, just to let you know that we continue to be, I would say, blown away and humbled is probably too mild of words by the participation and the support coming from our businesses and property owners. You'll see that as of right now, we are outstanding only $90,000 on a $1.4 million revenue stream that comes from our customers. And actually, I just met with Gina this afternoon. That number right to the moment is actually 74,900. So even better yet, about 5% uncollected as of right now. So again, phenomenal considering the challenges that our customers are going through. Next slide, please. So we are, as you know, continuing on our cleaning and sterilization of the railroad viaducts. That's part of our partnership with you. So we're doing that in collaboration with code enforcement and with the police department. We continue to help them in the cleaning. We also come back through and do a sterilization. And then we also have pressure washing down the big bellies. Those are the least garbage cans that you provided for us in the downtown area as well this summer. And then a couple of other just little notes. We actually identified a break in a water line on Wall Street, worked with your crew and managed to get that fixed. So if you notice, there were some dead hanging baskets there for a while. That's what happened there before we realized what had taken place. And next slide, please. We have this year has been a challenging year in terms of heat, as you might imagine. So we have worked to keep the plants alive and then replace many that we lost due to temperature this summer. And then our team has just selected our tulips, which we do now every fall now for the past 3 years. And so we'll be planting those tulips in October. And so that brings us just a beautiful canopy of flowers in those ground baskets come first part of the spring. Our crew continues to do weed abatement throughout the business improvement district, as well as working on trying to repair and fix electrical outlets in our trees as we can. And then lastly, we've got a great new relationship that we're developing with Katie Kosanke out of your City Parks Department. And we're not only trying to find a designee for her committee to serve and represent downtown on urban forestry, but we're also working with her to get some water bags. If you haven't noticed, we've got many trees downtown that are stressed, some unfortunately that we've lost. And I think combination of things between communication as far as, both property managers and much of those are actually the water supplies provided by the city. And so we're working to try to map and document all of that so that we don't see happen again what we've just seen, which is I fear that we're going to lose a good handful of trees because nobody was really aware who was providing the water to those trees. And so we're going to do everything we can to save the ones that are salvageable and then build a program so that we don't have that happen again. Next slide, please. I'm excited to report that we are not only working back, we're now back engaging with law enforcement, attending their monthly roll call so that we're staying in good, close contact and sharing information as appropriate. We had a wonderful partnership with the Riverside Neighborhood Council and SPD, Paws on Patrol, and I always forget the name of the group, but the horseback ride volunteer group for an awesome night out on crime in the first part of August. And then we are ourselves relaunching our bike program. We have had up to 6 bikes ourselves that have some time ago kind of fallen in disrepair and started to not be used. And as we begin to look at the SPD starting to get out on their bikes, we asked the question, and they've been very supportive and embracing of us getting together, doing even some training, and then us relaunching our own bike program. So you're going to see at least 4 bikes up and running for us here before the fall is over. And then lastly, we just continue to emphasize the SEPTED rebate program that still exists and encourage property owners. It makes a huge difference in terms of them making modest investments as far as improvements on their buildings and surroundings to keep their folks safe as well as to reduce crime. Next slide. Our team has noticed an uptick in activity, which probably is no surprise to you, I think in part because we've seen a little uptick in growth, at least anecdotally in terms of the folks that are on our streets, but also because many of our employees are not reporting to work still. And so unfortunately, this is, I think, leading to a situation where we're seeing a little bit more of the abhorrent, behavior and disorderly conduct, as well as open consumption of drugs and alcohol. And we're also seeing an uptick of just folks that are displaying symptoms of mental illness and drug addiction. And so as you can imagine, I know that you are because you helped lead that effort, but we're pretty excited to attend the meeting here at 2:30 to celebrate the opening of the diversion facility and to continue to work with you as well as our state representatives on making sure we have more funding for mental health and for drug and alcohol treatment. And then lastly, while we're on this slide, I would just say that as you probably heard, our team engaged with a group of folks. I don't mean to be Debbie Downer here, but we engaged with a group of folks about 20 minutes before there was a shooting that took place downtown last week. Our crew was literally face-to-face with that group. One of my young men, unfortunately, hasn't been suited with a vest yet because they're back ordered and they don't have any in supply. Just reiterated to me that the importance of making sure that your ambassador crew not only are trained in customer service, trained in social work and all those other things, but they're also, when they're de-escalating, and they had done a masterful job of de-escalating that group, getting them to move on. Unfortunately, they came back and then somebody got in a car and drove by and a couple shots were fired. So I guess my point is I think the team is doing a great job, but we need to make sure they're safe. Next slide, please. So Elizabeth launched a new campaign, which is called Spokane is Downtown, and we're profiling small businesses in the downtown area. So watch for our ads in the Inlander, the Black Lens, Facebook, and on YouTube. And she's looking at some other locations as well. We've also got a great campaign that she's launched on the Big Bellies. If you haven't seen, some wonderful pictures on those Big Bellies. But we've seen, as a result of that and our Facebook buy, pushing our small business owners, we've seen about 80,000 essentially reaches and about a 25% uptick on our website directory, business directory, as a result of that campaign. So very good news there. And then we just continue to market and advertise for our openings on the Clean Team. Next slide, please. If you haven't seen the wonderful banners, there's a little bit of a return to the 70s fresh look for First Friday that Liz has done on the First Friday campaign that I think is nice and crisp. We also are seeing, we're engaged in conversation with our partners in the downtown area, parking garage owners and our retailers. So as we had pledged at the beginning of the year, we're looking to try to expand the Easy Park program, and we continue to push out if you haven't seen our ads, Liz and Kevin are doing a great job of pushing essentially the CARES Act funded shuttle park program pass. So trying to encourage folks to provide new employees with a free first month's access to shuttle park as a means to try to get them used to using this tremendous public transit service. Thank you, Candace. And then lastly is we're doing a little bit of a mini update on our website, just trying to make sure that it's fresh and that we are infusing a good amount of data to that website as well. And I apologize. I know you on first name, Councilwoman Mumm. I'm so sorry. I get too lazy.
That's okay, Mark.
Casual.
We've known each other for what, 3 decades now.
Yeah.
We're good.
20 some years exactly. Thank you. Thanks for the grace. Okay, next slide. Again, we relaunched Food Truck Fridays on Wall Street. One of the things that we noticed this year is that most of our visitors are coming, or our attendees were coming from visitors and not our employees. So again, we try to encourage our downtown employers to please safely come back to work, find the way that's good for you. We've had some great success on this new cultural event grant. If you recall, we put $30,000 towards the funding of a number of what now is a number of different events, the first of which was Tacos and Tequila put on by the HBPA, and it was a resounding success. And we have several others coming. We have Black Business Expo coming in February. We have Pacific Islander Food Fair coming, I believe, in April. We've got, later on, we've got the Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Day, and then we've got American Indian Community Center Stop and Listen event next year. So just all kinds of great things as a result of that. Let's see, next slide. Speaking of events, we have Fall Fest. It'll be here October 2nd and 3rd. It'll have the beer garden and the live music this year will be planned in the Parkade Plazas. We're trying to infuse some energy into that plaza with the new owners. They've been receptive to working with us in developing an MOU so that we can begin to program that wonderful space as well. And then we're working with all of our friends at the Lilac organization on the prospect of a holiday parade, and we're well into our holiday planning, believe it or not. We're also working to try to get an inventory and a financial assessment in hopes that we can get many of the outlets that have been damaged on our trees repaired, replaced in time for the holiday season, because we love to have those lit up really pretty for everybody. And then we're thankful to Wheatland Bank for their continued support of what we hope, as long as everything stays on course with our pandemic, the horse and carriage rides this winter as well. Getting close to the end here. Next slide. So we're continuing to work with the Washington Ready campaign to make sure, again, we're providing all the tools and assets that we possibly can to our businesses in downtown. We're also helping kind of on a case-by-case situation, helping small businesses and new businesses attain the permits that they need to get, patio permits, et cetera. And we are, we've updated our Invest in Downtown section of our website to really infuse some new data points to help encourage investment into downtown. And then, as this slide indicates, we're not only tracking and highlighting, but we're also participating in ribbon cuttings and then just showcasing openings of new businesses in downtown. And I won't go through all of them, but like Emma Rue's, Echo, Annex, Lord Stanley's, TWB Winery, et cetera. So lots of new excitement in the midst of some challenging times. And next slide, please. I think that's it. And I would just say I'll finish with saying that Elizabeth and Kevin are putting pen to paper in developing what will be our kind of new baseline survey, customer survey for all of our rate car payers, as is considered in the draft contract that we will be launching annually, and to make sure that you all and we all are getting that information so that we can continue to make sure we're doing everything we possibly can to help our customers. So with that, any questions?
Mark, that was great. I do have a question. I don't know if you have an answer. I have heard from a couple individuals that there is a group, an unknown group of folks downtown. They wear the same T-shirt. They wear matching T-shirts. And they've been moving around downtown alleys, places where the homeless hang out, and they've been kind of bullying and trying to move them. And I didn't know if your ambassadors have heard anything. My next step would be to talk to SPD to see if they know anything, but it looked like I saw pictures, and they look like a pretty young, fit group of individuals walking around downtown, so I was just going to ask if you'd heard anything.
That is the first time I've heard of that, Councilwoman Stratton, but I will look into that. That's concerning. Okay. I certainly respect, folks have concerns about the impact of loitering and transient, especially when they begin to engage in behavior that, is frightening and or concerning, but there's no room for that. So I will check with my team and I'll report back to you what I find.
Yeah, and I'll do some check into it. It just unnerved me when I heard it a second time.
Yeah.
I thought I'd better ask somebody. So thank you
Absolutely.
for addressing that.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions for Mark? As always, Mark, thanks. We appreciate your work. And we will see you next quarterly. You're not going to come every month. You can come every month if you want.
I don't know if you guys can put up with me that many times, but I appreciate the time very much. I appreciate all you guys' support, and we will see you in December, if not sooner.
Yep, we'll probably see you sooner. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Okay, now we're going to go back to the regular schedule. Annika Eagle is going to talk about murals.
Thank you, Councilmember Stratton.
Oh, there you are. Good to see you.
Here I am. Yes, good to see you. And I'll just share my presentation here, and I'll keep it to 2 minutes or to 10 minutes, and we'll get going. So I did present earlier in the spring on the sidewalk and bike corral parking, and this is kind of a continuation and broadening of that program. So the background, this used to be a pilot program in development services And in 2016, they did a pilot in Browns Addition where there were a number of intersections that they painted. So what we wanted to do was, because there has been renewed interest and a growing desire to get this going again for our neighborhoods and many other stakeholders. So we did form a stakeholders group, which included multiple city departments and city council staff, as well as Spokane Arts, and we had both the Lilac Services and Lighthouse for the Blind represented. So we met 2 or 3 times in the spring and the summer and really hashed out a lot of details of what would be needed to work through for this to be a successful program. So right now, applicants, which would be businesses, nonprofits, neighborhood councils, and schools, they would apply in 2 parts through Spokane Arts, and Spokane Arts would be the ones presenting the application materials to us at the city. But this, in 2 parts, they would be able to provide a list of locations so that we would be able to vet those to see which would be the most feasible based on street construction schedules and utility maintenance, et cetera. And the onus for soliciting approval from adjacent properties and businesses would still remain with the applicant. So they would require a 60% approval of adjacent properties, but non-response from those property owners would be taken as approval. And again, paint would be under 150 VOC, which is the volatile organic compounds, which is the same standard that we were using for the bike corral parking as well. And you add in a grit to prevent slipping. And this is a new change. So one of the bigger hangups in the program previously is that there were really high barrier fees. And so with all the stakeholders present, we discussed having the flat special events permitting fee because the Spokane Arts liability insurance and just kind of the materials, et cetera, that would be on the applicant and Spokane Arts would really have us covered for what we were hoping a larger fee on our end would cover with maintenance or if we need to deal with graffiti, et cetera. So this way, it's a lot more accessible so we can get more art. So we've drafted an art policy, and again, we incorporated the stakeholder feedback from the community and the city departments, and we're currently connecting with Spokane Arts to kind of iron out some of the logistics with the administration and timeline. And Shauna Harshman from City Council's office is also looking at American Rescue Plan funds that could help supplement this program. So desired outcomes, community building and neighborhood beautification, creating a safer community and increase economic revenue. And, in the 6-year urban experience strategic plan, support arts and cultural activities. And this is a great opportunity for neighborhood councils and schools to engage with the city. And I know a lot of our neighborhood councils are very excited and would really love to be able to invest in their community in this way. And, business partnerships and working more closely with Spokane Arts and just growing our art policies and programs. Our utility box wraps, which is, a great program that Spokane Arts administers, and then the bike parking has been a great hit. And so just really creating these opportunities within the city for more art is great. So kind of the same hurdles we've had with the bike parking, so the environmental concerns, but with the lower VOC of the paint, that should be able to pretty much do the best elimination of the pollution concerns for the river that we can do. And, Spokane Arts will be vetting all of the designs and approving or rejecting the proposed designs. And so we will also, as part of their interface with the city of Spokane and sending the submission materials to us, if there is something that would be impacting any sort of traffic design, that would be, we would be making sure that that doesn't happen. So, because we do not want to confuse drivers, pedestrians, or bicyclists. So, any questions?
Councilmember Mum.
Hi, Annika. Hey, one of our great partners, I'm just wondering if this addresses the permanency enough and kind of the removal. One of our great partners of an annual event one time used spray paint that lasted for years. And I just want to make sure we have some guidelines in there, like once an event is done, or how long can it stay there? Do we address that if they are required to remove it? Or
So we haven't addressed removal, but we do have spray paint prohibited language. So yeah, I can reconnect with the team about the lifespan if we want to have a cap.
just maybe, kind of like how is it maintained, or if at some point, because it'll degrade, at some point, is there just kind of like within a certain number of years they need to scrub off the chalk or whatever it is. So thank you.
Right. Yeah.
And it looks like Shauna Harshman may have a comment or a question.
I did, just because we discussed that quite a bit in the working group, Councilmember Mum, and there were a couple things that we discussed that I think would help inform this conversation. We were talking about how long the paint that we've chosen may or may not last. And right now it looks like with this type of paint, it typically lasts between 1 and 3 years, which is one of the reasons we suggested a 3-year pilot program, because one of the data points that we want to collect out of this is how long does this sort of treatment last on our streets, dependent on our traffic on that street, our traffic volumes, and things like that. So we hope to get that data point by the end of the pilot program to further refine the types of materials that we use as well.
That's good information. Thanks. Anybody else have questions for Annika? Annika, thank you for this presentation. I see in the background you have a guitar. So next time that you present to us, I may have you maybe make it a musical presentation where you could play your guitar and sing to us.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
we'll save that for the next one.
Work on that, and that'll be a fun surprise.
Okay.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Does that mean karaoke? I'm just asking, as you think about that going forward, Councilmember Stratton.
All right, I'll appoint a committee and we'll talk about it, Annika.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, up next, Terry Stripes is going to talk MFTE with us. And I don't see her on my screen.
Yes, I am here.
There you are. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thanks.
I was wondering about the Chevy Tahoe that was ahead of me. Did we skip over that one?
I apologize. We got notice right after the meeting started that has been pulled from the agenda.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for asking for the presentation about this project. One of the things I'll have council members do in your meeting packet, if you'll skip forward to page 21, that's the beginning of my briefing paper. If you would like me to share my screen with that, I can, or I can just share the screen. Okay, we'll do that. Are you seeing the briefing paper?
Not yet.
There we go.
There we go. It's there.
Should be seeing it. So one of the things I wanted to let you know is that this briefing paper and those moving forward, probably for at least the next year, are going to look a little different than they have in the past. One of the things that I've been learning after taking back on the daily management of this program, that there's a little bit of misinformation in the community about the program. And we all know that the state legislature made some significant changes that are going to require us to be moving towards an update of this program in the future. What we're learning right now from Commerce is that their guidance on those changes is likely to occur in the spring. But we've got a lot of multifamily projects that we'll be working with between now and then. And I want to make certain that the community is getting the information about why we use this tool, where this tool came from, and what its objectives and purposes are, so that they understand that as we're moving forward. So what I've started this briefing paper for alignment section is the multifamily tax exemption purposes, those that are in our code. We're trying to encourage more multifamily housing opportunities, including affordable housing within the city. We're here to stimulate the construction of new multifamily housing or the rehabilitation of housing. We want to increase the supply of mixed income multifamily housing within the city. We accomplish goals that are required under the Growth Management Act. So winding the clock back a little bit, one of the reasons why we utilize multifamily tax exemption is that post-comprehensive plan creation throughout the state was realizing that the communities were not hitting their densities that they had identified in their comprehensive plans. And we weren't, as communities, increasing density much at all. So the state said, okay, we're going to create this tool to help you cities to hit those densities. So that's one of the reasons why we utilize multifamily tax exemption. We use it to promote development in neighborhoods and revitalize with the availability of affordable housing. This was a new concept that came along post the creation of the program way back in the 1990s. But in 2007, after the program had started working and people were seeing projects pop up, we were seeing that we weren't getting a good mix of income levels or diversity of type. We were seeing a ton of condos and high-end condos, not those that would be affordable to the general population. So in 2007, they said, okay, we need to create an affordability component. Now, as a reminder, affordability is defined as a unit that is not going to exceed 30% of the household's income plus rent and utilities. So what does that mean? That means for a very low income person, that rent and utilities cannot exceed the cost of their housing. And then for those in a higher income level, it's the same thing. Utilities and housing costs cannot exceed 30% of their annual income. So how does that relate to multifamily tax exemption? Well, in our code set it so that our current code identifies that income level of 80 to 115% of area median income is where we're targeting the incentive. It's kind of odd because it doesn't always end up at that target. So for example, in the 2020 projects that completed, 34 of the units were 8-year projects. Four of the projects that completed were 12-year projects, for a total of 96 units. The income qualifications for the 12-year program is that you have to rent or sell 20% of the units. Of those 96 units created under the 12-year program in 2020, we actually saw more than the 20% requirement hitting the affordability. 45 were currently occupied by those earning less than 115%. So they weren't even at the 115%. They were at 30% of area median income, 50% of area median income, and they could have been up to 115%. So those rents are adjusted down for those in a lower income level. That was funny because one of the recent meetings that we had with the state, with another city, Seattle, they said, well, what do you do if you don't make it so that the rent is always this? I said, well, they have to tell us what the rent is, and they have to tell us what the income is. So if the income, if the rent exceeds that 30% of their income, then that is no longer a qualifying unit. So keep that in mind as you move forward and you think about multifamily tax exemption as we're bringing these projects forward. Then I've called out for you in the briefing paper the comprehensive plan alignment. Remember, multifamily tax exemption came about to help us implement our comprehensive plan strategies and policies. So you've got policies under land use that MFTE helps with. You've got policies under the housing section of our comprehensive plan. You've got policies under the economic development section of the comprehensive plan. So this project, this application came forward. Staff has determined that it is meeting what has been identified in our municipal code as allowable for a project. This applicant is going to be providing approximately 78 units in the heart of our Monroe Street corridor, the one that we just did all of that massive redevelopment on for great streetscape and traffic calming. And this corridor we have identified in our comprehensive plan as a pedestrian enhanced auto accommodating district. So this is meeting all of our objectives, this one project. This project is located in the Emerson Garfield neighborhood. What you will be asked to approve at your city council meeting is a conditional contract. Once that project has gone through construction and they have gotten their CO and they're renting up, then they come in and they finalize their multifamily tax exemption. And that's when the next tax year, their exemption actually begins. So with multifamily tax exemption, all applications are pretty much considered speculative. We make them do the application for multifamily before they build the units or before they've even gotten a building permit. So this is their best guess today about what their project will look like in the future when they're done. And then when they're all done, we finalize the project and then we file that certificate with the county assessors. So if they cannot hit their 12-year requirements for income restrictions and rent restrictions, then they will be able to finalize under the 8-year program, not the 12-year program. They have to have those income qualifications and rate qualifications met. So one of the things that council has also been very interested in is dialing down into what is it the city is giving up when they give up multifamily tax exemption. So in looking at the documentation that we had used in the past, I realized it had become a little bit outdated, and so I've updated it. Our best projection, because these are speculative projects when they're coming through, is to take all existing projects that we have in the system and come up with an amount as averaged for all of the projects that is exempt for each and every unit, be it a high-end condo or be it a very low-income affordable unit. So our best guess is that on average, each unit ends up with a property value of $128,300 exempt. That equates to a foregone tax dollar coming into the city of about $522 per unit. So over the term of the project, we're looking at about $40,000 for this project, not coming in as foregone taxes, and we're looking at about $488,000. Now remember, again, this is a speculative project. It hasn't been built. Right now, it's not generating any of those taxes. So there are parts of this project that will still be taxable as we move forward. But again, it's a speculative project, so it would be a guess and begali to try and drill that down for you. But you will not have anything forgone that you are currently getting in tax dollars today to the city. Does not It does not change the existing tax structure for the property. It only changes for the new housing units coming on. So that was one of the things I wanted to make certain that I shared with you. This is our site, like I said, right just north of the Five Corners of the intersection at Indiana and, I'm sorry, am I missing a question?
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Terry. It looks like Councilmember Mum has a question.
Yeah, I like your calculation looking at it from the builder's perspective, but I also think it might be important to add one more line to show on that 13th year the estimated value of the property and what the actual taxes would be, because that's where, when we were working through the last MFTE, is, and you made the statement orally, we're not getting the taxes now. It's not really that we're foregoing it because we wouldn't have it if nothing was built. But what you get in the long term is an improved total valuation going forward into perpetuity. Even for the next 10 years, it might be interesting to see what the new valuation would be and what the potential new taxes would be coming into the city. That's where the real value, in my mind, lies.
It is, and once we get through final tax exemption and we actually are exempting the project, that's an interesting point because you've participated in the updates before, so you've seen those larger spreadsheets about this is the value of the exemptions today, and if they come back on today, this is how much. So, for example, in 2021, there's a very small amount of property value that will be coming online. It's only just like 2.8 million, but in a couple of years later, it's close to like 60 million on the projects that would be coming online. I'll see what I can do about adding some of that information into these regular presentations for you so that you can kind of see how that would look years down the road. So here is our site. It is a vacant lot. It's attached to, help me out now, council members for this district, the
Silver's Auto Auction.
Thank you. So they sold off half a block that used to be theirs for display, and this is where our project will be located. This property was 5 parcels. It has been combined into 1 parcel for this development. This project has gone to pre-development, and right now this is their working site plan where you have properties lining, you have the buildings lining both Monroe and Shannon, and parking tucked in behind. I mean, centers and corridors, design standards galore right there. So that's exciting to see. So then I think you can see that the next couple pages are that conditional agreement that you'll be asked to approve at City Council, and that's the end of my presentation. So I will stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Terry. I have a quick question, and you may not be the person, but at what point are they going to introduce us to the neighborhood council? That neighborhood was so involved with all of the North Monroe.
I can let them know that it would be desirable. One thing to remember is because this is currently allowed by zoning, it is currently outright permitted, there wouldn't be a requirement to present to the council, the neighborhood council, but I could let them know that the neighborhood council would be interested. This developer has a possible future project up in Garland area, and they are hoping that the multifamily tax exemption update would bring multifamily up there, the multifamily tax exemption up to that district. And I had recommended that they talk to the neighborhood council about that. So I can make that recommendation for Emerson Garfield too.
Yeah, even if it's informational, you know, this is what we're doing and that kind of thing, but it always helps to get those neighbors at least knowing what's going on.
Yeah, you don't want to surprise them, so that's a great idea.
Right. Does anybody else have questions for Terry? Terry, that was great. Learned a lot. Thank you so much. Nobody questions?
Councilwoman Mum has her hand up.
Got it.
I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for making an outstanding connection to all of our adopted policies, the comprehensive plan, all the implementation. This was textbook. I'd like you to give a master's class to everyone else when we're doing these because that was spot on. And it really helps us to see how it's achieving so many goals that so many people have worked on. Well done.
Thank you. I've been hearing from the community that there's a lot of misunderstanding about the program, and that scares me when we're talking about entering into an update process.
That was a good presentation. All right. Terry, we'll let you go, and we're going to head to Amanda Beck. We're going to get an overview of the short plat fee amendment.
Thank you, Councilmember Stratton. Just a second, and I will share screen. I'm going to follow suit with Terry and actually share the draft text that's in your agenda. So let me know if I can increase the Zoom so it's more readable. We have hit the ground running as far as trying to make changes following the Housing Action Plan. And one of those items that we're taking forward is an amendment to section 0.08.02.66. So what you see on screen is our proposed changes as far as how we are going to structure short plat fees. And just in case any of the members of the public are watching, so a short plat is up to 9 lots. Anything over that would be a long plat. So after internal review with our staff in Development Services Center, we're proposing a 3-tier approach for application fees. We have a type A, which is basically the most simple form. It would be for up to 2 residential lots. So not applicable for commercial short plats. And that would be a $250 flat fee. In your draft text, it is proposed as having a sunset in December of 2023. That was put in as a placeholder. Obviously, we will amend as necessary following discussion with council. Second would be a type B, which is how we sort of determined a more simple short plat. So the proposed lots would have access to right-of-way. They would just be extending individual lines for utilities. No major improvements would be required, and this would move to be a reduced fee from what it is currently to what is charged for a type 1 application. And then the third type of application is the type C, and this is more of a complicated short plat review. It might require more engineering review or more planning. So that might be they're putting in a private access drive, they don't have access to right-of-way, or they would need to extend utilities, and that would remain with our current short plat application fee. So what we're proposing is to only change the application fee for the preliminary review. Fees would remain the same for the final plat. And because I think it is slightly easier to look at this with the actual numbers rather than having it spelled out, these are a side-by-side comparison of what the fees will look like versus what they are currently. And staff is proposing this as an emergency ordinance. That way it becomes effective immediately, so any new applications that should come into DSC will be charged the new fees. And we're hoping that that is one action that we can take to help address with the housing shortage. So what sort of questions can I answer about the proposed amendment?
I don't know whose hand went up first. Councilmember Cathcart, you want to start?
Yeah, I guess first a question. Do you know approximately how many short plats did not have any adjustments to utilities in the last couple of years?
I don't off the top of my head.
I asked the question because in talking to developers, it sounds like it's very rare that you don't adjust utilities when you're doing a short plat. The mere fact that you're dividing the lot indicates that you're going to need, new service to the new lot. So really, I worry and I feel strongly that we're creating a situation where it looks good on paper, but it's really not going to have any real world effects in reducing the cost of doing a short plat. And then the second thing I would just point out is, in the mayor's proclamation on a housing emergency, she even called for, short plats to be 250, but also to make them administrative, type 1. And I think that is something that should also be occurring in here as well, is to make short plats a type 1 administrative process, simplify it, expedite it. But really, there's really no reason I can see to not allow for most short plats to be submitted to fall under that lower 250 fee or 350 to match the boundary line adjustment. So I just think this should be a little bit more robust to help get us where we need to go.
I might let Chris Becker say how this impacts financially, but so with what we propose, we've tried to balance needing a reduced fee, but also being cognizant of how it might impact the enterprise fund. And this does change the fees, but it would be reviewed administratively. So we aren't changing that part. Short plats are reviewed administratively, and then they would get a signature by the director and go through the final plat process. So we haven't proposed with this particular amendment to change anything regarding the process, such as notification to adjacent properties and the neighborhood councils. But that's something that we've talked about internally, also looking at with an additional amendment.
Yeah, and RCW gives us the ability to do that, to make it a type 1, simplify, expedite. But I still think that just the way we're going about it, it may still not get us the increases in infill that we're looking for.
Chris Becker, is Chris on? She wants to comment at all?
I'm here. I appreciate the work that Amanda did on this proposal. I actually think it aligns very closely with the level of effort required by staff. To answer your question, Councilmember Cathcart, there are a fair number of short plats that come in that really don't require a ton of effort because the utility mains are there, and we're really just talking about services. And so, I mean, I can't give you a number off the top of my head if it's 30% or 40%, but it's not insignificant. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I think we can take your feedback and maybe go back and make some adjustments.
Nope, that'd be great, and I'm happy to further the conversation.
Councilmember Mum.
Yeah, I support what you've done here, Amanda and Chris, and I think it's worth giving it a try. I think that we have to recognize that these people are in business, and I know that we have a fairness and an equity thing that we want to make sure that everybody's treated equally. But also, when we're asking staff to do all of this work, and there's some major things like moving trunk lines and that sort of thing, we need to make sure that that's fair. How fair is that to give those people a huge freebie pass and not just the other person just moving the line? So I support what you've done. I think it's well researched, it's substantiated, and I'm going to support staff on this. I think that I'm guessing the mayor's also supporting what staff has done here as well. So I'm good with what you've done. I'm willing to try it.
Were there any other hands raised? Sorry, it's a little bit hard to see when I have dual screens.
I have a comment. I'm sponsoring this, so obviously I support it, but I want to be sure this is an enterprise fund, and we don't want to deplete it or to create, as Councilmember Mum said, undue burden on our staff, number one, but also burden on the taxpayers. So we may offer reduction of fees for builders and developers, but at the expense of the taxpayer. And that is not something that I believe we should do, number one. Number two, we should try it for an amount of time. If it's really not moving the needle, then we can adjust. And thirdly, this is only one thing in a tool chest of items that we're going to be bringing forward as development incentives. So this is just the first thing. Others are coming, and we need to see them in totality and not look at them as one-offs.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you so much for that presentation. And if council members have questions, we'll make sure that they get a hold of you. We're going to move down and we've got a few more items left. Melissa Morrison. Melissa, I'm going to have you talk about the Crosswalk Capital Campaign Resolution and the Rapid Capital Housing Acquisition Resolution. You can do those, and then Alex can follow up after you.
Hey there, thank you. And Fawn Schott is also on for the crosswalk discussion. She was going to join study session today, so I just wanted to make sure I welcomed her. So the first one is the Volunteers of America Crosswalk Capital Fund that the City of Spokane would commit $1 million to expand the facilities. This is out of the $15 million current project that has a variety of funding sources, one of them being the Housing Trust Fund, which is a $4 million application, but does require local funding to be part of for that application. This would provide dorm settings with wraparound services to youth and young adults, including coordination in a partnership with the Spokane Community College to make sure that the youth in the program are also getting access to education and ongoing training for jobs. And so this $1 million would go towards the capital budget for the project, which is separate from the current crosswalk facility, and that it'll be moved from downtown into an area over by Spokane Community College. But Fawn's here to answer any questions or provide any additional details, but wanted to bring this forward for discussion.
Hi, Fawn. Sorry I didn't see you on the screen. It's good to have you with us. Do you want to take a moment and say anything before anybody else?
Yeah, happy to. Thank you, Councilwoman Stratton. Let me know if my video cuts out or gets choppy. I have not always great service here, so just wave me down.
You're good so far.
Thank you. Crosswalk has been under pre-development to move it out of the downtown core for about 3 years. What we know is that it was really the right setting back in 1985 when we had street use downtown. But what our kids really need now is a prevention model really to get ahead of the chronic homelessness situation that we're having on the streets in Spokane. So our preventative model is really to address education for our young people, and the way that they have really requested that is to embed them in education opportunities. Hence the reason why we chose the location right by SCC. The other additional benefit is the young adult shelter will be within 1 block of this of our new crosswalk campus. So we will be all encompassing for young people. So our crosswalk existing shelter will remain in our new building, will remain for young people 13 to 17 on the ground floor. It will still have our GED program, all of our mental health, substance use, all of the housing case management and reunification model for young people to reunite back with their family supports, whatever that may be for them. But that second floor will be a place for young people 16 to 20 that will allow them to have a single room shelter style dorm where they're really focused on their education, whether that be a Running Start program at SCC, whether it be their 2-year degree, vocational, or even certificate. It will also be a wonderful pathway for our young adults that are 18 to 20 that are staying at the shelter that also, again, need a place to go to work on their educational opportunities on their pathway out of homelessness to be able to engage in a single dorm. For individuals in that 18 and over, we will be working if they're able to live independently and transition into our transitional housing and independent living in private apartments. So we do have a pathway outside of the shelter as well. So our new building will have double the capacity from 18 to 36 shelter beds and expanding to also serve that 16 to 20. We do have over half of the funds raised. In addition to that, we have launched a capital campaign of foundations and private donors. That we have a goal of 3 million. We have 2 very promising foundations that are doing site visits, and we're in final discussion with those 2, and we've raised 732,000 of our million goal of private donors. So we're well on our way. This money and this local commitment is the last money needed to secure the Housing Trust Fund to begin construction next spring for a finished building where we move the young people out of downtown by summer of 2023.
And Sean, Fawn, if I remember correctly, the kids really wanted out of downtown. They were ready to go somewhere kind of outside of that core, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, that's probably one of the largest questions we receive is why would you move out of the downtown core? When we started asking the question of are the services that you're receiving as a homeless youth really what you need, we went straight to the youth to ask that question first, to identify what are we missing, what's our service delivery model, and is the building that we're in meeting your needs? And the first thing they said was the risks that we have living in downtown and having a shelter in our downtown core. We are daily sex trafficking and drug activity is brought to them really regularly, and they want to be in a neighborhood, they want to be out of the downtown core, a place where they can be like every other normal kid, focused on education and a life that they can commit back to the community the way each of us want to.
Councilmember
Mum.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with Fawn that those of us on the Spokane Transit Authority are working on a potential proposal for the youth to have bus passes for free and to be able to ride the bus for free on a longer, we did it on a pilot basis, but we know how impactful that was, and anything that you could do to support that, if that's meaningful to your agency, please feel free to contact our offices or send a letter directly to STA.
Thank you, Councilmember Mum. That's wonderful news, and we will continue that path. I know our request was that we, in order to make sure that young people could have access, number one, it's on the Central City line, but additionally, our request was to STA, could we create a special pass that is available to businesses or anyone, service provider, that allowed a young person a pass just to get to Crosswalk over on Mission, and it had the map, and any bus driver would make sure that they were on that route. So thank you for supporting that. We will definitely send a letter. Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, hi, Fawn. I'm just wondering, do you have any opposition to potentially in the future being subject to some form of a good neighbor agreement?
Well, we have worked with the Neighborhood Council, and we do have a letter of support from the Neighborhood Council. I guess I know that there's been discussion about a neighborhood agreement. I feel like as VOA, we've done a good job being a good neighbor. We want to make sure that we are. That's very important that we're an active and engaged part of the neighborhood. I think it's helpful for us to ensure that our neighbors have our numbers and we have open dialogue, and I think that is the intent of what a good neighbor agreement is, and ensuring that both parties, all parties are engaged in open conversation and being a positive part of the neighborhood.
Okay.
Hence the reason why
Thank
we
you.
attend neighborhood councils and will continue to do so.
Great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, Fawn, Councilmember Cathcart and I have been talking about good neighbor agreements, and we may, as we travel down this road, we may call you for some input as to, what works, what doesn't, what you've done. That might be really helpful.
Absolutely. Happy to help.
Perfect. Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Fawn. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate it. We know you work very, very hard for the youth of our community, and we appreciate your efforts.
Well, we appreciate council and all your support, so thank you.
Okay, Melissa, you're up again with the housing acquisition RFP.
Yes, so this is for the rapid acquisition of properties. It would commit the city of Spokane to $1 million for up to 3 years for projects with the Department of Commerce rapid acquisition or the Rapid Capital Housing Acquisition Grant. It was released back in July by Department of Commerce. There's been a lot of conversations around the country about buying, a lot of times the model is buying old hotels to convert to housing options for folks. And so this would be commit the city of Spokane into supporting projects that fall into that category. This would increase the housing supply in the city of Spokane and also by utilizing state funds in order to do that. So building the partnership with the state using those state funds. The rapid conversion can go into a variety of housing options. It could be shelter, drop-in, permanent supportive housing, transitional housing for youth. And so it's not just one type of housing that this program could fund, but a variety that's needed in the city of Spokane. The new round of funding applicants is opening in early November, and so this would be an RFP for potential applicants to put an RFP out so the city of Spokane could support it. There is a local funding requirement for the Department of Commerce grant, so the city of Spokane would need to be a partner for a successful application. So that is the support for this is the $1 million over 3 years for successful applicant. So if there's any questions.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, didn't we vote on this in July to move forward with this program? I seem to recall us voting on that, and then another related to Catholic Charities.
We support, yes, the resolution was to support the application that Catholic Charities had submitted, but they were not successful in the first round of funding. So theirs was not selected in that first round.
Okay, I understand. Okay, and then the way this is drafted, is it that we are committing the $1 million regardless of which projects are selected, or would we still play a role in approving those projects once the RFPs come back in?
It would be, I mean, it would still be, Council President,
It's just a resolution supporting it. We would be involved later on.
Okay.
Any other questions? Melissa, thank you so much for your hard work on these two issues. And Alex, you want to talk about the welcoming property?
Yes. This afternoon you guys will be voting on the resolution. This resolution states that Spokane City Council declares the U.S. federal government that Spokane is a welcoming community for the resettlement of refugees from the war in Afghanistan, that the city of Spokane renews its commitment to being a compassionate community and a welcoming place for all who make it their home. The resolution also recognizes that the impact of the war in Afghanistan and our nation's armed forces, and recognizes that the sons and daughters who left Spokane to serve in Afghanistan were aided and comforted by the very Afghan people who were guaranteed the salvation of immigration to the U.S. in exchange for their services alongside our service members. Also this afternoon, Mark Feeney from World Relief, Director of World Relief, our local resettlement organization, will also be receiving a proclamation for Welcoming Week, and he will share more about the efforts being taken here in Spokane to assist in the resettlement process.
Thank you, Alex. Does anybody have questions, concerns on this one? All right, then we look forward to reading the proclamation tonight at the meeting. And to finish our meeting, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Becker with her building permit and construction update.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen. All right, can you see that? All right. So I'll be real quick. I'm going to tell you that I'm having a real Monday today, and I have about half the presentation because none of my maps would download. So I don't know if it was a server thing or a Chris thing, but I have about half the presentation for you. I'll email it out to you in its complete form after the meeting. So continue to be busy. Our total permit activity up 15%. Single family continue to be up over 100%, and our construction valuations up about 16–17%. I do want to point out down here on our online applications, you'll see we have a little bit of a decrease. We reopened City Hall in August, and so we do have some customers coming in and choosing to be served that way, but the vast majority of our customers continue to use our online services, which is exactly what we want them to do. So total valuation is $455 million. Last month we were at $404 million. So just still continuing to see a lot of permitting activity. This is the annual construction project valuations by project size. So you'll see those projects over 10 million are in the blue. We're at $181 million there. That's the addition of one big project, which was the Fine Arts Building at SCC, which was about $29 million. And you'll see that here too in the publicly versus privately funded projects. The publicly funded was about 102 last month. So we just continue to see a lot of investment on from the private sector. There's still some public projects in the works, but just a ton of private investment in our community. So single family residence permits, we only issued 6 last month. We had about 10 new applications come in, which is consistent with other months. We have quite a few still kind of sitting there in approved status, just waiting for the fees to be paid so they could get pulled. But we had that mad rush at the beginning of the year, and we're not seeing a mad rush kind of before fall hits. Let's see. So this is the multifamily. This is a similar story. We permitted about 6 more units in August, but we still do have quite a few units in the queue there waiting to be issued. So this is where my map is missing, and I apologize for that. So this is the largest projects issued, and the new one here is the SFCC Fine and Applied Arts Building. These are the largest permits in review. So in August, we had River Bend Phase 2 come in. So that's 2 more buildings at 1015 East MLK for a total of 174 units. And then the Radio Park Apartments came in, and that's at 4980 South Regal, and that's 153 units. And then the last one is these are the projects in pre-development. The 2 new ones this month are this proposed Moody PUD, which is at 5336 South Freya. It's a PUD, and they're proposing townhomes and duplexes. And this Liberty Park expansion is 54 apartments in 3 buildings. That's at 1527 East Hartson. Any questions?
So, Chris, how do we know on when you talk about the new apartments and condos that are coming up, how do we know if those are going to be affordable or not? Do we know that ahead of time, or?
I don't ask for that information as far as building permitting goes, but if they're part of that MFTE program, we would have some information on that. I know that the planning is tracking a lot more information than I am on the permitting side related to housing.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have questions for Chris? Okay, looks like we are 5 minutes ahead of schedule, so that's good. Our next meeting is going to be October 11th, and we will see everybody at 3:30 for our briefing. Thank you.